aim for dead center, see how she hits. Hey y'all, welcome back to Flippin' Rippin'. Today we're going to be doing a little something different than our regular content. Mostly do fishing, but today we're going to be doing something different. Our deer bow. Deer season is opening up tomorrow actually, so I wanted to give you a rundown of what I think are 3 easy steps to make sure your bow is ready for deer season. This is just going to go over just a little bit of everything and 3 easy things just to make sure your bow's all good to go. That way you won't have any problems hopefully when you get out in there in the deer stand. So first off, we're going to start with the bow. Now first thing to check is your D-loop here. You want to make sure there's no frays on your D-loop and your strings are not fraying excessively and all good shape. And while you're here to do some preventative maintenance, take a little bow string wax, rub it on the cables here and the string right here on your D-loop. Make sure your D-loop looks good. Also, while you're at it, might as well check out your release. Make sure it operates smoothly. When you store it in the open position. That's about all you need to know for your bow, pretty much. Just make sure everything looks good. None of your sight is rattled loose. All that looks perfect. So if all that looks good, and then you're good to go. As I've been shooting this bow pretty regularly. Well, I shouldn't say that. I try to shoot pretty regularly, so I know everything stays in pretty good. So next thing you're gonna do is use your arrows, whether you're using 1 or 2 arrows. Good thing to check on them is while you're at it is make sure the tips, the inserts aren't pulling out. Like this one actually has come out a tiny bit. So we're gonna push this down on there and yeah, you can see that right there. So the insert is actually pulled out a little bit. So for target use, that's okay. But for a deer, might wanna consider using a different arrow. So, which I'm gonna do that. Because you don't want your broadheads pulling out or something crazy happening. So as you can see there, these 2 arrows, inserts aren't pulling out. They look very good. Also that broad tip's a little messed up. But that's just their feel point. But anyway, so make sure everything looks good on those, which these 2 arrows look good. The next thing you want to do is you want to flex test them, which basically just kind of grab them. Don't look directly at them in case they do break. Carbon going in your eyeballs is not a good thing. So just kind of roll them through your fingers and flex them like that. Make sure they are good. Now, as long as you're not yanking them, you're not going to knock them out of true, especially if they're a high quality arrow, which I recommend shooting gold tips. That's what I shoot. But roll them around, see, good. And actually, if you look in the box when you buy a set of arrows, which look at the instructions, which none of us do, it says flex test regularly, and it actually says it right here. It says caution, flex test first. So there you go. So now obviously they get hit, they get nicks in the carbon, they can break. These things are tough as nails. So, but as you can see, we're just gonna flex test them a little bit. Good to go. And then the next thing we're gonna do is go grab some broadheads and show you how those are correctly supposed to go on. Okay, first thing I want to do is take off your broad tip. Now I run a little bit of Loctite on these field points, that way they don't rattle out, because I shoot some 3D competitions and through 4-H, so you can't have them rattling out on you all the time. So just get a pair of straight pliers, very gingerly grip the field point and just back it off. Use a light Loctite, like blue, whatever, or you can use nail polish, but it's up to you. So as you can see here, all I did was just barely break it loose, came right loose, and that's all that's left there. Blow the Loctite off, and then there you go. Set that aside. So if you are running mechanical broadheads, this is a mechanical flies like a field point. Sometimes can be more accurate because it flies, it's tighter, more aerodynamic, more speed, and then when it hits the deer, it opens, and it opens a lot wider than a fixed broadhead could open. But the problems are some people don't like the mechanical part of it. They worry about it not opening when it hits the deer, which is something to worry about, I guess. or they break easier. So you can also use a fixed broadhead, which is fine, but you have to tune for broadheads. So I will leave a link to a very good video over here and in the description, because about tuning your bow to how to tune your bow for mechanical broadheads. So because that's a very in-depth video and I won't bore you with that, and there's tons of videos on it. So basically, to use a mechanical broadhead, so you got this piece, then you got these little lock rings. So what these do is hold the blades together until they're ready to go. So if you can tell, there's little splits in here, and you do not want to put the split in to the little nubbins on the thing. So like this right here. So I don't know if you can see this. You can see this, but there's little nubbins. See the little cuts there? You do not want to put the nubbins in the cuts like I got. So there's nubbins in here, and don't put them in the cuts. So now that we have those not in the cuts, you just snug it down nice and snug. There you go. These aren't going anywhere. So now this shoots just exactly like a field point. So if your bow shoots good with field points, it's going to shoot good with mechanical broadheads. That's the advantage to mechanical. I personally like them. I know some people don't. My buddy's tried to run them on his crossbow, and all he has is problems. So I don't know if because of the crossbow going faster or what, but it's all personal opinion. Read about it, do what you want. These are Rage, I forget the name or the model. I'll put it here if I can find it. Rage broadheads. They got really good reviews. I haven't personally shot a deer with them, but I have no doubts in them. They're very sharp. I have shot these through a target one time just to see if it was going to hit where it's supposed to, and it hit right there. That was at 20 yards, which is pretty regular deer shot. Depends on how skilled you are, I guess. So there you go. So there's 2 arrows. These are ready to go. One thing to note is if you're shooting, you need to know what size field point you're shooting. These are 100 grain field points. If you're shooting a 100 grain field point, you're going to want to shoot a 100 grain broadhead, mechanical, fixed, whichever. You're going to want to shoot the same grain broadhead as your field point. So if you're tuned for a 100 grain field point, you're going to be tuned for a 100 grain mechanical broadhead. Next up, we're going to go shoot a couple times, show you what's going to be shooting. We're going to give you a little pointers on how to sight your bow in if it's not hitting just the way you want it. So let's get right to it. Okay, so we're back here at 20 yards. We're going to go ahead and throw 3 shots downrange. Top right hand circle. Aim for dead center. See how she hits. Alright, not too bad. This was the first shot, this is the second shot, this is the third shot. Third's definitely the best. So, but all of them shot a little bit to the left. Basically, what you want to do is chase your arrows. So, we're shooting to the left, so we want to move the sight just a little bit to the left. So on this one, break loose the jam nut, bring her in a couple clicks, just go a small amount at a time, and then cinch her back down. So basically follow your arrow. If you're shooting low, move your pin low. If you're shooting high, move your pin up. If you're shooting right, move the sight right. So just follow your arrow. So now we made the adjustment, see how she hits. Alright, as you can see, those are looking pretty dang good. So I pulled this one just a tiny bit, but that is right in the money. So there you go. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment what you want to see next, either fishing or hunting, and I'll be doing some videos of hunting because opening day is tomorrow for me. Thank y'all for watching. Like and subscribe. See y'all next one.